Fear is one of the greatest barriers to success, but it is also one of the most deceptive. It is an illusion, a creation of our minds shaped by our past experiences, doubts, and uncertainties. A lion does not fear the unknown. It does not hesitate when it moves forward. It does not second-guess itself before it makes a decision. That is because a lion understands one fundamental truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. From a young age, we are conditioned to fear failure. We are taught to play it safe, to avoid risks, to always think about what could go wrong instead of what could go right. We become prisoners of our own thoughts, allowing fear to dictate our actions, our decisions, and ultimately our destiny. But what if we changed our perspective? What if we saw fear not as a stop sign, but as a green light signaling us to go forward? Consider a child learning to walk. When they take their first steps, they stumble and fall repeatedly. But do they stop? Do they give up? No. They get up and try again. They do not allow the fear of falling to stop them from moving forward. They have not yet learned to be afraid of failure. It is only as we grow older that we develop this fear, because society teaches us that failure is something to be ashamed of. But in reality, failure is nothing more than a stepping stone to success. A lion walking through the jungle does not worry about what might go wrong. It does not wonder whether the ground beneath its feet is firm or whether the prey it is chasing will outrun it. It simply moves forward with confidence and determination. That is the mentality we must adopt in our own lives. We must learn to silence the voice of fear in our minds and replace it with the voice of courage. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. Entrepreneurs, athletes, leaders. They all had one thing in common. They refused to let fear control them. They understood that fear is nothing more than a limitation created by the mind. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before he invented the light bulb. If he had let fear stop him, the world might still be in darkness. Oprah Winfrey was told she was not fit for television, but she refused to let that fear hold her back. Today, she is one of the most influential women in the world. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is simple. Those who succeed choose courage over fear. Courage is a choice. It is the decision to take action despite the uncertainty, despite the doubt, despite the risk of failure. It is the understanding that growth only happens when we step outside of our comfort zones. Nothing great has ever been achieved by playing it safe. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every life-changing moment has happened because someone decided to take a risk. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at the water below. Your heart is racing, your mind is filled with questions. What if I fall? What if I get hurt? But then you take a deep breath, silence those doubts, and leap. That is courage. And the moment you hit the water, you realize something. You were capable all along. The fear was never real. It was just a thought, a story your mind created. That is how fear works in life. It paralyzes us, keeps us stuck in the same place, afraid to move forward. But once we take that first step, we realize that the only thing holding us back was our own mindset. Every time we push past fear, we grow stronger. We become more confident. We start to see that we are capable of so much more than we ever imagined. Fear tells us you are not good enough. Courage says you are more than enough. Fear whispers you will fail. Courage shouts even if you fail, you will learn and rise again. Fear makes us hesitate. Courage makes us act. The truth is, fear is a natural part of life. Even the bravest among us feel fear. But the difference is that courageous people do not let fear stop them. They acknowledge it, but they do not give it power. They feel the fear and move forward anyway. That is the lion mentality. A lion does not wait for the perfect moment. It does not wait for certainty. It acts, it leads, it dominates. Life is too short to let fear hold us back. Every day that we allow fear to control us is a day that we lose. A day that we could have used to chase our dreams, to create something meaningful, to make an impact. But when we choose courage, we reclaim our power. We take control of our own destiny. So the question is, what are you afraid of? And more importantly, what would you do if fear was no longer in the way? Because the moment you choose courage over fear, you step into the strongest, most unstoppable version of yourself. Life is not a straight path. It is filled with twists, turns, and unexpected obstacles. We all face challenges, hardships, and moments of despair, but what truly defines us is how we respond to them. A lion is not the king of the jungle because it has never faced adversity. It is the king because it has conquered every challenge that stood in its way. It does not cower in the face of danger. It does not surrender when faced with difficulty. Instead, it stands tall, fights, and overcomes. That is the true essence of strength. Embracing adversity and using it as a stepping stone for growth. We often view challenges as roadblocks, as signs that we should give up. We ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? Why is life so unfair? But what if we changed our perspective? What if, instead of seeing adversity as a punishment, we saw it as a lesson? Every difficult situation carries within it an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become stronger. Just like a lion that becomes a fierce hunter only after enduring countless battles, we become the best versions of ourselves through the struggles we endure. Think about the most successful and inspiring people in history. They were not born into success. They did not have a smooth journey. They faced rejection, failure, loss, and pain. Yet they did not allow those hardships to define them. Instead, they turned their pain into power. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, yet he emerged not with bitterness, but with a mission to change the world. Helen Keller, despite being deaf and blind, became one of the most influential voices in history. These individuals understood that adversity was not a sign to give up. It was an invitation to rise. In the animal kingdom, the lion is not the biggest or the fastest, yet it dominates. Why? Because it refuses to back down. When it hunts, it does not focus on how difficult the chase is. It does not dwell on the possibility of failure. It moves forward with determination, knowing that every challenge makes it stronger. We must adopt the same mindset. Too often, when faced with difficulties, we allow ourselves to be consumed by self-pity. We focus on what we have lost instead of what we can gain. But the truth is, every hardship is preparing us for something greater. Every challenge is shaping us into the person we are meant to become. Pain is a teacher. It shows us our weaknesses, but it also reveals our strengths. It teaches us resilience, patience, and perseverance. Without struggle, there can be no growth. Imagine a seed planted deep in the soil. At first, it is buried in darkness. It faces pressure from all sides, struggling to push through the soil. But that struggle is necessary. Without it, the seed would never grow into a tree. The same applies to us. The hardships we face are not meant to break us. They are meant to build us. They push us out of our comfort zones, forcing us to grow in ways we never thought possible. A lion does not complain about the heat of the sun or the cold of the night. It does not waste time feeling sorry for itself. It adapts, it endures, and it keeps moving forward. We must do the same. Life will not always be easy, but we must remember that struggles are temporary. The pain we feel today will become the strength we rely on tomorrow. Every setback carries with it the seed of an even greater comeback. When we are knocked down, we have two choices. We can stay down and accept defeat, or we can rise, learn, and become stronger. The choice is ours. But we must remember that true strength is not found in avoiding hardship, but in facing it with courage. Some of the greatest leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries in the world have faced unimaginable adversity. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company before he returned and made Apple one of the most valuable brands in the world. J.K. Rowling was rejected by multiple publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. These individuals did not allow failure to define them. They understood that adversity was not the end of their journey, it was just a chapter in their story. In our own lives, we will face moments that test us. We will experience heartbreak, loss, and failure. But we must remind ourselves that these moments do not define us. Our response to them does. When a lion is wounded, it does not retreat. It does not give up. It heals, it regains its strength, and it returns stronger than before. That is the mindset we must adopt. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We should ask, what is this teaching me? Every hardship carries a lesson, And those who succeed in life are the ones who learn from their struggles. They do not let pain make them bitter. They let it make them better. Life will not always go according to plan. There will be failures, disappointments, and moments of doubt. But we must never forget that our struggles are shaping us into the person we are meant to become. A lion is not born strong. It becomes strong through the challenges it faces. And just like the lion, we too can rise, no matter how many times we are knocked down. In a world that is constantly changing, filled with distractions and noise, it is easy to get lost in the chaos. Everyone seems to have something to say, but not everyone has something meaningful to share. The lion, however, does not need to make noise to prove its strength. It simply moves with purpose, and its presence commands respect. This is the essence of true leadership. Leading with purpose, not with noise. It is about creating a vision so clear, so powerful, that your actions speak louder than any words ever could. When we think about leadership, many people assume it is about being the loudest in the room, about drawing attention to yourself, or seeking validation from others. But true leadership is not about being seen or heard for the sake of recognition. It is about living your truth and inspiring others through your example. The lion does not roar for attention. It roars because it is confident in its position as the ruler of its domain. Its roar is not for show. It is a statement of presence, a declaration of its power and authority. Similarly, the most successful and impactful individuals do not need to announce their worth. They show it through their work, their actions, and their results. The world is full of noise. Everywhere we turn, there is something vying for our attention. Social media, news, advertisements, opinions. It can be overwhelming and confusing, and it is easy to get swept up in the frenzy of it all. But when we focus on the things that truly matter, when we lead with purpose, the noise fades into the background. We stop seeking external validation, and instead we find fulfillment in our own actions and progress. Purpose becomes our compass, guiding us through the storm of distractions and helping us stay on course. One of the biggest challenges many people face is figuring out their purpose. In a world where success is often measured by fame, money, or status, it can be difficult to determine what truly matters. But purpose is not something that can be found in external achievements. It is found within. It is the deep knowing that what you are doing is meaningful, that it aligns with your values and passions. When you know your purpose, you don't need to scream to be heard. Your work will speak for itself. The most impactful leaders throughout history have been those who led with purpose, not noise. Think about figures like Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr. Both of these individuals had clear visions of the world they wanted to create, and they dedicated their lives to making that vision a reality. When you lead with purpose, your actions become the loudest voice in the room. You don't need to seek validation or shout for recognition. Just as the lion doesn't need to prove itself, your vision, work, and dedication will speak volumes. In a world full of distractions, staying grounded in your purpose allows you to rise above the noise. Your journey becomes a testament to your strength, focus, and unwavering commitment to what matters most. And just like the lion, those who truly lead with purpose will naturally command the respect and admiration they deserve. If you learned something new from this tutorial, don't forget to like and subscribe.